Hello, beautiful souls. This is Lizz Christie of Galactic Mythology, and I'm thrilled to welcome you to another Weekend Goddess Report. Let's dive into the cosmic currents for this weekend, Friday, November 29th through Monday, December 2nd. For all my new listeners out there, here's a quick refresher on what we're doing here. The Weekend Goddess Report is a 4-day astrological forecast covering the energies from Friday, Venus's day, at the stroke of midnight, Pacific Standard Time, through to Monday, the Moon's day. This forecast highlights the influence of the asteroid goddesses, primarily Ceres, Juno, Vesta, and Pallas. Lately, though, Dark Moon Lilith has been a frequent guest, stirring the pot in her mysterious ways. This weekend, however, we have a new player on the scene, Asteroid Persephone. I've recently added Persephone to my event charts on the program Astro Gold, and it appears that she's been making waves in the sign of Capricorn since November 7th. And as we kick off this weekend, she's nestled in the 8th degree of Capricorn. For those unfamiliar with Asteroid Persephone, she resides in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, completing her orbit around the sun every 5.57 years. Recently, she's been engaging in a sweet quincunx with Mars in Leo, an aspect that's been with us since about November 7th. It's currently on its waning phase. Mars and Asteroid Persephone have been dancing around the early degrees of Leo and Capricorn in an inconjunct quincunx aspect since November 7th. This subtle but significant alignment is adding rich layers to our discussion about Venus, who is currently in Capricorn, and who is also preparing to have a cosmic meeting with Ceres, Persephone's mother, next weekend. And trust me, Ceres has plenty to say. But before we dive into their drama, let's talk about the real star of this weekend, or rather, the real luminary of this weekend, the moon, Miss Luna. Miss Luna is bringing the fire this weekend with a series of intense aspects to key planets. While she softens her stance with some, like Pluto in early Aquarius, she is showing little mercy elsewhere. Miss Luna does share a harmonious vibe with the lunar north node in Aries, but don't be fooled by her occasional charm. By Saturday night, November 30th, we'll experience a new moon in Sagittarius, loosely conjunct Mercury retrograde. Meanwhile, Mars throws in an unexpected twist with an out-of-sign opposition to Venus and Ceres. Tensions are high and the cosmos is buzzing with activity. So what does it all mean for us Earthlings? As above, so below. Buckle up, y'all, and keep your hands and arms safely inside the vehicle at all times, because we're about to take off and we're going into interpretations. All right. Interpretations. On this podcast, we've talked about Persephone before, but not Asteroid Persephone. Considering that she has been in an uneasy aspect with Mars for almost a month now, it makes me wonder a lot about what Ceres has up her sleeve, because she, Asteroid Ceres, is currently on her way to meet up with the Lord Pluto in the critical degree of Aquarius. Pluto, the underworld, and Hades are all synonymous with one another. And they are also synonymous with Persephone, the young maiden who was stolen from her mother and then ultimately made to be the queen of the underworld. The story of Ceres, Persephone, and Hades is traumatic, not romantic. It's a narrative that encapsulates the concept of a descent into the unknown and the unseen. Stories like Alice in Wonderland follow an arc similar to that of the myth of Persephone and Ceres, as does the ancient Sumerian tale of Inanna and Ereshkigal. All three of these stories share a similar thread. It's important for us to identify with all these beings in the myth, all these characters, Ceres, Persephone, and Hades in particular. There's much to learn by exploring these archetypes and experiencing them through the psyche. Persephone represents childlike innocence, the sign of spring, and the daffodil bursting through the ice and snow. She is colorful, bright, and full of life. She is not suppressed, although she may become hidden at times. Hades, the ruler of the underworld, symbolizes that which we do suppress on a fundamental level. He represents the truest part of ourself, the shadow side that we leave dormant and lifeless. However, these shadows do breathe, and they are quite real. When we follow Persephone down the rabbit hole, we find a world turned upside down and inside out. There's confusion and trickery, but also moments of deep, profound realization. Hades wanted to possess Persephone for her innate childlike spirit, a spirit that resides within each of us, personal to ourselves. As my dear stepmom Connie would say, what does your 5-year-old self want and need? What does that sweet, tender, innocent little being inside of you, within the essence of your spirit, need? Think of baby Jesus. There's something profoundly powerful about the energy of unconditional love, forgiveness, and renewal. In the story of Persephone, Ceres, and Hades, there is certainly something to be gleaned from the power of forgiveness, along with the power of compromise. Capricorn is a sign that understands compromise, cutting through confusion with sharp reasoning and a compassionate heart. Capricorns may appear to have a cold demeanor, but don't let them fool you. They're big softies on the inside, at least for the most part. Their hard exterior is simply a side effect of how deeply they actually care. It's a protective guise designed to keep others calm. If a Capricorn looked freaked out, they know you'd be even more freaked out. Capricorns are rock solid. With that in mind, we currently have Persephone in Capricorn, Ceres in Capricorn, and Venus in Capricorn. Our femmes are keeping their cool. They're composed and they're collected. Venus is inching closer and closer to Ceres, planning to unite with her at the 29th degree of Capricorn sometime next weekend. Once Venus comes into contact with Ceres, she will then intercept Ceres and pass her in this cosmic marathon through the zodiac. Venus will come into contact with Pluto over in the critical degree of Aquarius before Ceres does. This cosmic choreography suggests that whatever tea Ceres spilled to Venus was so big that Venus felt compelled to consult Pluto first. What secrets or revelations did Ceres share with Venus? And have they noticed that Mars, over there in Leo, is spying on them from across the way, opposing them in Leo? The message here is very clear to me. Follow your dreams now. It is not the time to buckle under pressure or shy away from the topsy-turvy energy of the upside-down world. Own your character. Step into your power and take full responsibility for your actions and who you are. Carrying on, Ceres is approaching a perfect sextile with Neptune and Pisces over the weekend. This aspect brings a loving and tender energy that could wash over you in profound waves of forgiveness, both for yourself and for others. It's a beautiful opportunity to soften the tension swirling around in the cosmic atmosphere. And trust me, there's plenty of tension this weekend. We haven't even talked about the moon yet, so let's bring her in. On Friday, November 29th, the moon in Scorpio opposes Uranus retrograde in Taurus within the 24th degree. By the end of the next day, November 30th, Luna meets the sun, and collectively, we experience a Sagittarius new moon. The energy this weekend feels more static than dynamic. Over the course of 3 days, the moon interacts with 3 retrograde planets, setting the tone for the entire weekend. It begins with a showdown against retrograde Uranus, then aligns briefly with the sun, before wandering over to Mercury retrograde and eventually opposing Jupiter retrograde and Gemini. New moons are typically about release and planting seeds for new beginnings, but this particular new moon has a stubborn, static quality that feels a little out of sync. While change is constant, something about this weekend's energy is itchy, scratchy, and slightly resistant to movement. That said, this is the perfect opportunity to slow down, reflect, and practice humility. I know I often encourage slowing down in these reports, and maybe that's because as an American, I feel like it's a message we need to hear. Our fast-paced, consumer-driven society conditions us to prioritize productivity over rest. But truly, this is a time to pause, tune in, and shed some light on that programming. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. This weekend's chart is strong with that energy, but it's also asking, what's nagging at you? And what's that elephant in the room? This is your chance to face it head on. Otherwise, the tension of this weekend could feel like nails on a chalkboard. Think back to the energies of November 18th through 21st. Mercury's time in court is up, and Jupiter's life review is now on the stand. This weekend is ideal for analyzing your belief systems and acknowledging how your core beliefs shape your reality. As always, this weekend is ripe for transformation because, in truth, every day holds the potential to change the world. Use this moment to let go of what's weighing you down and stay the course towards your dreams. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm Lizz Grace Christie, and this has been your Weekend Goddess Report for November 29th through December 2nd. I'll catch up with you next weekend with another update. Please take what resonates with you and leave all the rest behind. I'm sending you so much love. Good day, good night, good evening, good life. I love you. Goodbye.